I have a question for you, and it's a simple question. Is there a way for us to kill the need for so many drugs coming into this country by being more aggressive in how we treat uh, addicts? Now, some of these addicts are not these street people that get the get it and become addicted. But some of the addicts that we have in this country come from a view that they've seen things that are so bad, aka combat veterans, police officers, people in the medical field, that they start trying to find more and more ways to get rid of mental pain. Or then you have people that are hurt in some way and they become addicted to pain medication because, well, they were fairly treated for pain, but something inside their body says, hey, I want more of this. Not their fault. It's a biological imperative that happens to them. But these people turn to harder and harder drugs to get a better and better high. Now, I'm going to cover some of the busts that have happened recently to show you the extent that we're busting the drugs, but there is a want for the drugs, as when one of the major news agencies went to the cartels and talked to them, and the cartel member pointed out they wouldn't be able to make so much money here in the US if they didn't have such a strong consumer base. So, how do we take care of getting rid of the consumer base? That is my view or my question on this. So, first off, if you like these kinds of topics, hit like, subscribe. We're going to delve into something that I think that people need to talk about.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Now, what got me thinking on this is a recent Department of Justice. It says Justice Department highlights DEA drug seizures for the first half of 2025, successful operations over the last several weeks. Now, Pam Bondi highlighted this. Lexington County, South Carolina DEA, in coordination with state and local partners, seized 156 pounds of fentanyl and 44 pounds of meth, a firearm, and arrested one trafficker. Gainesville, Georgia, DEA and its state and local partners intercepted over 705 pounds of meth hidden in a truckload of cucumbers and arrested 2 traffickers. Minneapolis, Minnesota, DEA and its federal and local partners seized 889 pounds of meth, 1 handgun, and arrested 3 traffickers. Kern County, California, DEA and local partners shut down a major meth conversion lab, seizing 240 pounds of crystal meth, 151 pounds of liquid meth, and arrested 5 traffickers. Fresno, California, DEA and federal, state, and local partners seized 24 pounds of carfentanil disguised as real prescription pills, single largest seizure of date of carfentanil in Northern California. Galveston, Texas, DEA, in close coordination with federal partners at CBP, helped uncover 1,700 pounds of meth worth more than $15 million hidden inside a vehicle. Austin, Texas, DEA, in coordination with the FBI and local partners, seized 783 pounds of meth hidden inside a refrigerated truck carrying blueberries. Single coordinated takedown spanning Indiana, Kentucky, and Arizona. DEA, working alongside with federal, state, and local partners. DEA seized 59 illegal firearms possessed by serious violent felons, along with 74 pounds of meth, 11 pounds of fentanyl, 11 pounds of cocaine, cash, and conducted 23 arrests. Miami, Florida, DEA, in coordination with its FBI partners, seized over $10 million in cryptocurrency directly linked to Sinaloa cartel. El Paso, Texas, DEA, with assistance of its federal partners at HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and U.S. Border Patrol, seized 115 pounds of meth from a drug-laden vehicle outfitted with the GPS tracker. Omaha, Nebraska, DEA and its local partners seized machine gun conversion devices, AR-style pistols, and fentanyl pills in a raid that dismantled a multi-state poly-drug operation. Now, all of that was seized. But that wouldn't be in this country unless there was a want for the drugs. Well, for addicts, it's a need for the drugs. So let's delve a little bit into what we can do about that. Now, on the federal level, they have substance abuse treatment. Uh, it comes from education, non residential drug abuse treatment, which is 12-week cognitive behavioral therapy treatment program is conducted primarily in a group setting. The content addresses criminal lifestyles and provides skill building opportunities in the areas of rational thinking, communication skills, and institution community adjustment. This program is for offenders who have short sentences, may not meet the criteria for residential drug abuse program, are awaiting RDAP, or transitioning to the community and have a positive urinalysis test. A residential drug abuse program, RDAP, is the Bureau's most intensive treatment program. CBT is used in a modified therapeutic community model where offenders experience living in pro-social community. Offenders live in a unit separate from general population. They participate in half-day programming and half-day work, school, or vocational activities. RDAP is typically 9 months in duration. Bureau and National Institute on Drug Abuse combine funding and expertise to conduct a rigorous analysis of the Bureau's RDAP. Research findings demonstrated that RDAP participants are significantly less likely to recidivate and less likely to relapse to drug use than non-participants. The studies also suggest that the Bureau's RDAPs make a significant difference in the lives of offenders following their release from custody and return to the communities. And there's also community treatment services, which part of the Community Reentry Affairs Branch and Reentry Services Division. Community Treatment Services provides important support services to individuals transitioning from incarceration to community placement, formerly known as transitional drug abuse treatment. CTS provides continuity of care for offenders placed in residential reentry centers, day reporting centers, home confinement, and federal location monitoring. Uh, Research indicates that individuals are most vulnerable when initially returning to the community after a period of incarceration, placing the individual at risk of relapse and recidivism. Continued treatment and support services are, as well as supervision, are essential elements to an individual's reentry success. Okay, a whole lot of talk there, but these are for people who have committed crimes and have gone to federal prison. Okay, fine. That's one group that needs to have some major work done. You're talking about one percenters, by motorcycle gangs, or some of these other organized crime groups, or you've got folks that get so high that they do stupid things to try to make the money that they need to have the drugs. But let's now talk about those that are not so criminally inclined. We have a problem in this country where you have folks that are exceedingly vulnerable. The VA tries its best. There are bureaucrats that get in the way, but the VA tries its best to help those that are combat veterans or just veterans that have gone through Very bad situations. Police officers don't have that easy of a path, though. Um, they end up getting painted as bad cops, but there are cops that see some very gruesome things that turn to drugs, drinking. They become addicts. Uh, People that work in hospitals. Think about what you've seen on TV, and it only gets worse from there. Or how about those folks? Well, let me tell you a story. I knew a feller back home, not going to say his name, who was a pillar of the community. Everybody liked this guy. Worked hard, had a family, was a very good family man. You know, parents adored him, kind of thing. He was the good kid. He got injured at work. Well, as he was injured at work, they had to fix him up, and part of the healing process was is that he was given pain medicine. Well, unfortunately, which I have since studied a little bit on, some people have not just an addictive personality, but they have parts in their body that when they get exposed to certain substances, they kind of become addicted. Um, their body starts craving it. It's not just that their mental status craves it, but no, their body craves it. And I mean, there's a lot of drugs that fill that void really easily because that's where you get a lot of these addicts is that even if they've not been through this, they get to craving these substances. Well, this guy who was a pillar of the community, who worked hard, paid his taxes, did all the right things. After he got injured, he became addicted and he started falling down that addictive path. How do you treat people like that? How do you treat people like him? How do you treat people who are combat veterans, which I have met several, who they've been through combat, they can't get rid of the nightmares, and they start taking substances to try to go to sleep, even. They try not to dream. That's right. That's something that most people don't think about that don't go through this. How do you help those people? Seriously, how do you help those people as well? That's why we need a better path for these folks, even though they will probably try not to go through them, on top of the fact of that we have a culture that says, oh, if you go through these treatment programs, and that makes you weak, and you're given all kinds of bad thought processes and everything. So there's that problem. Look, we need to come up with a way to help those folks who have been addicted, that have become addicted to drugs. And people are going to go, well, we do. We have the jail system and we have the prison system and they're criminals. And you're going, and you're against this because you're a conservative? I am against it. It's not a small government solution to allow people to become addicted and to end up in the criminal justice system. That is not a small government solution. A solution would be we need to have a way to get these people into a structured environment willingly that is more than just, say, a Betty Ford type clinic, but is instead a hey, let's show you how to be productive while we're getting you off these drugs. People relapse. We know this. We have to keep monitoring them. That is why there needs to be far more than just the treatment centers. We need a way to get them back introduced into the regular community after their primary care and then have them going through programs that can keep them from wanting to relapse once they're back out in the really real world. There are some programs like that, but unfortunately, most of those programs are set up for convicts. Well, for inmates that are now released, felons and whatnot. We need this for regular folks. We need regular folks to go, okay, I know I'm addicted. I want to keep this up. I need help. The problem with this is that folks don't want this as a way, they don't want their tax dollars going to this. Well, the problem is that it's going to cost you far more in the long run if we maintain this addiction culture in this country. Now, there are a few things that I don't think necessarily meet that requirement of they need to be sent to that. So some people might get forced into it that shouldn't have been. But seriously, we need a better treatment program, and we need a treatment program that doesn't end up as from the consequence of them going to jail or prison, but it coming from a situation in which they are able to go, okay, something's going too far, and they work themselves into this system. Now, some of this is paid for by insurance, but if they relapse, it gets worse on them. And it's that relapse part that people seem to think, oh, well, we've helped them. That's the problem of addiction. You can keep relapsing into it until something goes right. And not everything goes right the first time with drug addiction. People need to understand that. So, yes, we need a better treatment option for these folks. Now, I'm asking, or I gave you all that information, and I'm asking this question because, well, the government doesn't give much of a who. They don't. They don't care. They are looking at it as, oh, well, we can put more people into the system, which makes us look like we're actually doing something. Instead of that, we need a way get this done. Well, that requires educating taxpayers as to why we need to demand something that is a fixing of the addiction issue and not a increasing of the criminal justice system that has proven to be exceedingly broken, from cops that are just an embarrassment to the badge, to judges who are bought and paid for or just acting a fool, to a jail and prison system in this country that is horrible. I mean, they don't have enough correctional officers. They don't have jails that are being ran by the correctional officers. They in a lot of places prison there are a lot of prisons that are ran by the criminals more than they're ran by the correctional officers, and it's not a place where people are able to rehabilitate. You listen to these people that have gone through prison, and they will tell you that they can't go through vocational training. They can't go through what they need to make a better life for themselves outside of it, because these prisons are ran in such a way that you have to get with your skin color to be protected. And to be protected, you have to become part of basically a criminal organization within a prison. This has to end. We, the people, have to fix the system. Why? Because politicians, the only thing that they do is sit there and talk about it to try to get you to vote for them. And then they don't do anything, because if they keep the issue around, then they can keep talking about it and you'll still keep voting for them because they'll make it look like they're doing something. But in the end, they haven't done anything. That is what our government's become. It's become a system for people to run as politicians and keep harping on issues, but never actually allowing anything to get fixed. I am not a doctor. I will admit that. I have seen more from the street level. Brothers and sisters of mine from the military who things that they went through caused them to turn to a life of drugs. I have seen police officers who were good cops that ended up seeing so much that they ended up drinking too much. Some turned to harder things. I have seen regular folks on the street who got addicted because of medical procedures. Those are not people that you need to look down on and say, oh, they just need to go to prison. No, these are people that you're needing to go, hey, how can we help them without destroying their lives? And it starts with me, it starts with you, it starts with everybody in this country having at least a majority coming to consensus and going, we need to get this fixed now. That's the only way this is ever going to be fixed. If you've made it this far, just before I end, I am trying to raise $3,000 so I can do certain things better. I need help with that. Um, Long process, but I figured out I need $3,000 to do it. I don't have that handy right now, and I'm asking for a little bit of help. If you're listening to me on YouTube, hey, you've got membership things that you can help me with. If you're on Rumble or Facebook listening to me, I have a link tree attached that you can go to my Patreon and help me out via there. It's only a couple of bucks for any of it, and I would be much appreciated. Plus, you can help me decide what videos to make. I would really appreciate that, but if not, just hitting a like and subscribe will do just as well because it'll help me build up to an audience where I can eventually get to the point where I'm making money via ads or sponsors. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now.